Hello everybody, my name is Mark. Welcome to another one of my investing videos. And in this video, quick update on my positions here. I bought another 200 shares of steel, and if you look at my positions, it's showing right there, quantity 400. I now own 400 shares of steel, and my dollar cost average, I bought those 200 shares at about $11.97 per share. And then I sold two covered calls right here, and I took in, I think it was $28 a contract, sold two of those. And so I still have 200 shares and my $15 call options. And so I have basically 6 long positions, 2 short positions. And let's go to my transactions here. And I want to go back to a month ago, August, because a week ago I sold the open 6 put options, and those are right here. Sold 6 X put options, $10 strike price, and those expire on the 13th. And I took in 19 cents times 6, so I made $102.44. And then on the 5th, that would have been 4 days ago, I bought them back for $3 a contract. And so 102 minus 18, $84.34 was my total profit. So I feel pretty good about that. And then today is September the 9th. I bought 200 shares of steel, and there's my dollar cost right there, $11.97. And then I immediately sold 2 covered calls, $12 strike price, took in 28 cents for a total of $47.52. I did make a screw up, and I forgot to do a buy right, and so I paid an extra $8.45 commission. My bad for that, but nickel and diming, say what you want, but if you think of this as a business, you're trying to keep your expenses down, right? So that was a screw up on my part, but it is what it is. I own the 200 shares, and I have the 2 short calls now. Now, let's go to the charts, and let's take a look at why I decided to build my position a little bit up. Okay, so this here is steel. This is a 3-month chart. Let me pull up my drawing tool, okay? And this is what I'm looking at right here. I look at resistance, resistance, and a new resistance, which I have no idea where that resistance is going to go up. And if we shrink it in a month here, tomorrow's going to be an interesting day because it ended up, and actually let's go to a 5-day chart. I want to look at how big that candle is. It's not really one candle, but it just ended going up, right? And so when I see stuff like that, I see a change in the wind, and I see a change in the trend. Now, if we go to the 5-year chart and we look at the big picture here, okay, and we look at the last couple of times that it went up, steel went up from here to here. This level was $17.60. This level is $24.60. So that's about a 20% uprise. And then if we look at this upswing and this upswing, this price was $11.80. This price was $16. Again, that's close to a 20% uprising. And then our last one, which you can even hardly see, is right there. And that's what we're dealing with right now in these short-term stuff. And I got to clear all that out so I can see what I'm doing, right? But that's what we're dealing with right here. Now, if I go out a little bit, we can see the upswings, or actually, let me go out to a year. We can better see the upswing. So there's that upswing and that upswing. That's the 11 to 16. And this one was the 17 to the 24, right? So wouldn't that be cool if steel went right, let's say back up to the 16s again or something? That'd be good money. And of course, I have a plan now because I sold to open $28 calls. I wouldn't make any money on those 200 shares that I just bought. But that's why I have money waiting in the wings. And if we look at my balances, my cash reserve, I still got $25,430 that I am ready and waiting to buy, hopefully buy more calls. or buy more shares. And I was actually going to buy shares. I'm sorry, I was actually going to buy call options instead of shares, but I eventually decided to buy shares because when I was looking at the calls and I was looking at the leaps on the calls, I was seeing these big spreads. The $12 spreads, 295, 325. That's a little bit too large for me. $15 calls, that's a little bit too far out of the money for me. So I was looking at the $13 calls and the $12 calls, and the spreads were just too large. And so that's why I decided to buy the shares. But anyways, going back to the charts here. So I'm looking at a possible uptrend here. And I think now is a pretty good time to buy. I am not, and keep in mind, I am not advising anybody to do what I do. All of this option trading, investing stuff is risky. You always got to trade at your own risk, make your own decisions. But for me personally, I think it's a good time to start building my position and making back some of the money that has been lost in the lost value. I originally bought into steel all the way back in March, and my original dollar cost average was $20.66, and I had been doing option collars the whole time, and my dollar cost average is down to $14, but I still own those 6 put options at the $10 strike price, which I got $1,200. So 14 plus what, 1,200, 14 plus $6 a share. My profit is right around there. If steel were to go over that, then I would start making money free and clear. And that's just on the 200 shares, not counting the $15 calls. So I'm actually going to make more money quicker because I have the two $15 calls. Okay. Now, the final thing that I want to say as I close out this video, I just want to give a shout out to what I consider to be a very simple and reliable option strategy of selling put options on a stock that you don't own. So when you sell to open puts, okay, it's a very simple strategy, and I think it's a great strategy for people that are new to option trading. Because it's building on something that you already understand, which is buying and selling stock. Okay, so for example, if we look at put options, let's say 38 days out, and we look at $10 puts, okay, and this is super duper conservative, and you don't even get that much, right? But let's say that you got a few $1,000s. Let's say you got $5,000. If you wanted to, you could click on this $10 put, just like that, put in the sell, and then put in your action. And you got 4 options here. You got buy to open, buy to close, sell to open, sell to close. You would be selling to open. Selling to close is if you bought a put and then you decide to sell back the put that you bought. You are closing out the contract. But when you sell to open, you are selling a put that you do not yet own. And if that order gets filled, then you own a short put option. So you would put in sell to open, and then it looks like you get $16. And let's say I put in the number 5 and I click review order. Okay, I'm going to get $80 credit to my account. And if I place the order, I'm not going to do that, but if I did and I clicked my mouse and that order got filled, this $80 would get credited to my account. And this is a strike price of $10, and it expires October the 18th, 2019. Today is September the 9th, so that is in 5 weeks from now. So within 5 weeks, anytime between now and 5 weeks, you could, if the option buyer felt so inclined, you could end up buying 500 shares of steel at $10. The reason why is because a put option is a contract to sell a stock. You are selling a put option to somebody else. So you are giving somebody else the right to sell you 500 shares of steel at $10 a share. So if that option buyer wanted to, they can make the decision, okay, Mark, I have decided I'm going to use my option and I am going to sell you 500 shares of steel at $10 a share. Now, right now, I would be very happy because I would basically be buying steel at $10 a share but steel is worth $12.23. So it is highly, 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 highly unlikely that an out of the money option would get exercised. It's possible, it could happen, but it's never happened to me in my 7 years of trading options. I have never had an out of the money option get assigned to me. I've never once had to buy 100 shares of a stock at $10 a share when the stock is worth $12.23. Wouldn't even make sense for an option buyer to do that, but it could happen. Okay. Now the risk is what if steel goes down to $9 or $8 or whatever? If the price of the stock goes below $10, then the option buyer would be happy to sell you 100 shares of steel at $10 a share if it was only worth $9, because the shares are worth $9 and they're making $10 a share. So you would be at a loss of $1 per share times however many contracts, and they would be making money. So when you sell the open put options, let's go back to our option chain here. Let's click on the option chain. And so when you sell the open put options, and again, we'll use our $10 put here, a good way of thinking about it is ask yourself this one question: would you be willing to buy 100 shares of steel at $10 a share? If the answer is yes, then go for it. Sell to open this put, and if steel goes down to $9, yeah, you're going to be in the red. You'll lose some money, but you end up buying the shares, and you can own the shares for as long as you want. And if you believe that steel is a good company and the stock will go back up, then what is the problem with buying 100 shares of steel at $10 a share? Okay, now if we go back to my transactions here, that's exactly what I did. And I'll go to August, click the view button, and right there on the 27th, I sold 6. That's equal to 600 shares of X. That's the ticker symbol steel. Expires September the 13th, and that would have been on the 27th. So that was about 3 weeks of expiration time. I sold 6 put options at $10 strike price. So basically, I was willing to buy 600 shares of steel at $10 a share, and I even got paid for it. Whoever bought those puts on me was willing to pay me 19 cents a contract, and that's $19 because a contract equals 100 shares. And so if steel would have dropped below $10 a share, then I would have ended up buying 600 shares of steel at $10 a share, but it didn't. And if we look at the chart here, okay, and let's go to a month, let's clear all this out, and let's look at August the 27th. So there's August 27th. So when looks like steel went from right there, that was the beginning of the 27th, down to about there. So it had a big down day that day. This all right there is all the same day. It's August 27th. And I sold those puts when steel was pretty close to $11. It was like at about $10.90. And steel did go down all the way to like $10.15. And if we look at steel, they have a 52-week low. I believe it's $10.15. And let me put in the ticker symbol just to double check here. And let's see, where's their 52-week low? Do you guys see it? Here it is right here. $10.16. They hit a 52-week low, and that would have been on the 28th, which would have been the following day that I sold those puts. Okay, but steel never did go below $10. Now imagine if I would have bought 600 shares of steel, okay, only to watch steel go all the way down there. The question is, would I have panicked? Would I have hit the panic button and got out and lost all that money, only to watch steel go back up? How many times have you done that as a trader, as a day trader, or as an investor, right? But I never felt obliged like, uh-oh, I'm going to lose money, because steel went down to $10.16, but I had sold put options at $10. So it still would have went below $10. Then I might have been scratching my head and thinking, okay, what should I do? Should I buy some puts? Should I just get out and take a loss? I would have had some decisions to make, but still never did that. And so I always felt safe. I went to sleep every night feeling like my money was safe. And that's the very cool thing about selling puts versus buying shares. If I would have bought the 600 shares of steel and then steel would have went down and I would have seen a big red numbers in my account, I might have panicked. Who knows, right? But because I instead sold the open 6 put options, then I went to night sleeping peaceful like a baby every single time. So I really have a lot of good, warm, fuzzy, positive feelings about this, what I consider a very basic and reliable strategy of selling to open put options here. And it's a very good way. If you're new to option trading, you can get your feet wet, and also it kind of gets you used to just kind of learning the rules of the road, how options work. What price are you going to buy or sell the stock if it goes in the money and you're selling covered calls or you're selling puts, and also buy to open, buy to close, all that stuff. It's a good way of just kind of getting your feet wet a little bit. So anyways, that's it for this video. So that's where I'm at right now. I own 400 shares of steel. I have my same 6 put options at $10, but I bought the extra 200 shares, putting me up to 400 shares. I sold 2 $12 covered calls at strike price. They expire this Friday, and I plan to roll it up if steel keeps going up. And I'm also planning to buy more shares or more call options, and I still got these same $2 call options. So I'm mostly long now on steel. I'm no longer bearish. I'm now long on steel. And if I start losing money on these 6 puts, it will be made up for very very easily and very well by the money that I make in the 400 shares, and also the money I'm bringing in on my cover calls, and also the fact I own these 2 calls. So as always, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to hit the like button, whatever you want to do. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video, and have a good day.